This is Platinum Northwest TV News. Good evening and thank you so much for joining us. I'm Philadelphia Mangoeng. Let's take a look now at the leading top stories. First up, newly appointed MEC Simpe Mokua accepts the call to head the Department of Public Works and Roads, and SASCOS supports the Provincial ANC Youth League on their planned march to the Premier's office. In the business news, Reserve Bank Governor welcomes the Finance Minister's reappointment. And in the sports news, it is alleged that Sundowns and Rhulani are set to part ways. We begin here. Simpe Elizabeth Mokua has been appointed as the new member of the Executive Council for the Department of Public Works and Roads. Mokua, who hails from the Dusty Kalpan village and grew up in the Gelekspan in the Northwest, brings a wealth of experience and expertise in this critical role, as she is the second female MEC in 30 years to be appointed in this male-dominated department. In other news, the African National Congress Youth League in the Northwest Province plan to have a march for this Friday, where they'll be handing over their memorandum of demand to the Premier's office. The South African Student Congress also called for all SASCOS structures and student populace in their magnitudes to form part of the revolutionary picket lines, which will demonstrate the need and course of action for realizing youth interest in the province. In more news, the Democratic Alliance leader John Steenhuisen says that his party now has a meaningful role to play in the reconstruction of the country.
Yesterday evening, the President of the Republic, Cyril Ramaphosa, announced the new National Cabinet, after him and I reached an agreement that was subsequently ratified by the DA's Federal Executive on the configuration of the DA's participation in the Executive. The appointment of Cabinet and the agreement between the two biggest parties inside the Government of National Unity paves the way for us to now start delivering for the people of South Africa. As announced by the President, the DA has taken up the following portfolios in Cabinet: agriculture, basic education, public works and infrastructure, forestry, fisheries and environment, home affairs, as well as communications and digital technologies. The DA has further assumed deputy minister posts in the portfolios of finance, trade, industry and competition, higher education, energy and electricity, water and sanitation, as well as small business development. The configuration that we have managed to negotiate ensures that alongside the ANC, the DA is the only other party that is now represented across every one of the clusters in government. We're also pleased that the negotiations reaffirmed the mechanisms of cabinet management, deadlock breaking and policy matters, and that any suspicious tenders issued in departments could be investigated, and that senior civil service appointments will not be obstructed or politicized. Throughout the election campaign, as well as during the negotiations that followed, I made it very clear that the DA is guided by the pledges we made in our election manifesto. These include the urgent need to grow the economy and create jobs, to bring an end to the energy crisis, to combat corruption and maladministration, and to improve the quality of services like education. As the DA now takes up our place around the cabinet table, it is these same priorities which will continue to guide the work that we do in government. But we must not kid ourselves that any of this is going to be easy. And we must not get carried away by the significance of the moment. The truth is that the road ahead will be a difficult one.
This comes after President Cyril Ramaphosa unveiled his new government on Sunday, which includes 6 ministers and 6 deputy ministers from the Democratic Alliance. Moving on to international news now, the US and Panama have signed an agreement on immigration issues that aims to close the passage of illegal migrants through the Darién Gap. The Panama government issued a statement that under the Memorandum of Understanding, the US would also support Panama with equipment, transportation and logistics regarding foreigners found in violation of the immigration laws of Panama. The two states signed the memorandum to address irregular migration, including through the Darién Gap. Now, the United States supports Panama's effort to humanly repatriate migrants who have no legal basis to remain in Panama. Panama is home to the Darién Gap, a mountainous rainforest region connecting South and Central America that has seen an increase in the number of migrants willing to risk their lives and safety to cross it. The 106-kilometer hike through the Darién Gap brings migrants from Colombia to Panama and is crucial passage for those hoping to reach the United States and Canada. Panamanian figures shows that at least 174,513 migrants passed the treacherous Darién Gap from January to June of this year. And with that, let's now take a look at the business news. In the business news, the South African Central Bank Governor Darién has welcomed the reappointment of Finance Minister Godongwana in the new coalition cabinet unveiled by the president this past Sunday. During an interview earlier today with Bloomberg TV at the European Central Bank Forum in Portugal, Kganyago said it gives them comfort as the minister has always been providing guidance as well as leadership on macroeconomic policy. He also said that the formation of the so-called Government of National Unity provides reassurance to investors who had been concerned about what type of coalition would be formed in the wake of the elections in May. The South African bank has kept its interest rates at 8.25% at each of its 3 monetary policy committee meetings so far this year, amid uncertainty before the elections, which opinion polls showed being tightly contested. The governor said that while there continue to be risks to the bank's outlook for price stability, including geographics, the impact of the El Nino weather phenomenon on food costs and oil prices, the central bank is maintaining its outlook that inflation will return to the midpoint of 3% to 6% target range by the first half of 2025. It has been above 4.5% for more than 3 years, and the central bank expects inflation to average 5.1% this year. And that's all from the business news. Let's now catch up with the sports. In soccer news, Mamelodi Sundowns and coach Rhulani Mokua are in talks to cut ties just 12 months after agreeing to a 4-year contract. In 2020, Mokua became co-coach of Mamelodi Sundowns alongside Mangcoba. Now, Mokua would be appointed the sole head coach, with the role given to Bach, effectively making him superior to the technical team. Mokua has managed 62 matches, won 39, drawn 19, and lost just 4 games. Mokua has won the DStv Premiership 3 times, the Nedbank Cup, the MTN 8, as well as the African Football League. He has also helped Sundowns qualify for the expanded Club World Cup next year. It is understood that at the center of this shocking development at Krugerkop is the broken working relationship between the coach and sporting director Fleming Berg, who worked as a talent development manager in his home country for the Danish FA and was also an international scout at Chelsea, joined the Brazilians in April 2022, while Mokua was co-coach alongside Mkriti. Now, Sundowns have released defender Brian Onyango, midfielder Bongani Zungu, and Gaston Serino, as well as striker Thabiso Kutumela. And that's where we're going to have to leave it for tonight. Thank you so much for watching. The team will be back again tomorrow evening. Till then, good night and take care.